Howdy, and welcome to Story Time. This is Brian S. Pratt, author, and today's story stars fan favorite Scar and Potbelly. The story is entitled Scar and Potbelly and the Liu'Nyar Genie. So, for those who aren't familiar with my writings, I have a series called the Morcyth Saga, 7 books long. There's a follow-up series called Travail of Dark Mage, of which 3 books are currently out. 4th is almost out. In that series, there's a pair called Scar and Potbelly, and they tell of adventures, or around the campfire when the group's having downtime. They tell these fantastic stories that nobody believes, right? But they say it's totally true, right? Well, this is going to be one of those stories. Anyway, so Scar and Potbelly, they've been told by a fellow back in the City of Light. City of Light is where Scar and Potbelly and the pit fighters, that's their home base. Anyway, this guy, Enoch One-Eye, told Scar that he has a buyer for the the nut root, okay? It's called the nut root. Anyway, he has a buyer for it. If he can get 5 pounds of these, then Scar and Potbelly will earn 1,000 gold pieces. Okay, that's a pretty good. And all you got to do is travel over to the Kirkin Federation, which is a little bit to the southeast of the City of Light. Maybe a week's journey. Go to a local bazaar, pick up 5 pounds, bring it back. 1,000 gold pieces, right? Piece of cake. 1,000 gold pieces for a week's journey or 2 weeks journey, no problem, right? So Scar, of course, he's always up for this sort of thing. Potbelly, he's leery because Enoch One-Eye, he's not really known for his business savvy, his truthfulness, but he has a relationship with Scar, and Scar's bought into this, and so they're heading over to the city of Trinal over in the Kirkin Federation. Now, Trinal sits on a river. There's a marshland to one side, and it's a fairly easy ride to it. Currently there's no wars breaking out. This is actually this is after the Morcyth Saga, but before Travail of Dark Mage, okay? So they're trying to get their lives back together, and so they're heading over there to get these nuke roots, right? So they go over to the city of Trinal, and they arrive there about dusk. Now, they can't find anyone who sells nuke roots. In fact, whenever they ask about it, the people tend to shy away from them. They don't want to talk about it. So Potbelly is starting to get a little worried that maybe this is something illegal here, because he really knows nothing about it. All they know is that Enoch One-Eye wants 5 pounds of it. Whether it be powdered or the whole root, he really doesn't care. He says, "This gives me 5 pounds," right? So they're going through the bazaar asking different people. The sun's going down, right? At this time, it's just starting to get a little dark, and they're thinking about finding an inn for the night. Well, about this time the sun goes down, they turn into this main thoroughfare, and they see an inn at the end of the road. And as they're heading down there, this beggar man, dressed in rags, dirty, hair scraggly, comes out and says, great sirs, I have this treasure that will bring great wealth and power, and I'm selling it for 5 gold pieces. And Potbelly goes, if that will bring 5 gold great wealth and power, why are you selling it for 5 gold pieces? Whereas Scar's going, that sounds pretty good, right? Wealth and power. Scar. So the guy says, my family's had this for a generation. We cannot open it. We are not as wise as you are. We are not as worldly as you are. And surely such men as you could easily open this and get the power and the wealth that is inside this box, that is fabled to be inside this box. Now, the box itself is rather remarkable. Half of it is kind of golden, and it kind of glows a little bit. Maybe it's like a luminescence or something. And the other half is just black. Now, in that blackness, there's like these little silver dots that kind of move a little bit. You know, they kind of sparkle, twinkle, almost like stars in the sky, right? And the guy, and Potbelly goes, man, you're crazy. There's no way that little box can bring us wealth and power. And Scar's going, I'll give you 1 gold piece for it. Potbelly goes, what are you talking about, 1 gold piece? That box is not going to bring us wealth and power. If it would, he'd have it already. Scar's going, yeah, I know, but look at the box. The box itself is worth 1 gold piece. We could easily, for a box that looks like this, we could easily sell it for 100 gold pieces back in the city. So I'm going to buy it. Potbelly goes, fine, whatever. So the guy goes, I can't sell it for 1 gold piece. I need 5 gold pieces, please. My family will starve. We'll be kicked out on the street. And Potbelly goes, well, you look like you're already on the street. He says, I am on the street. My family, I have to be here to beg to get coins so my family can live in this meagerous hut on the far edge of town near the swamp. So please, sirs, please, 5 gold pieces. Scar goes, I'll give you 3. And the guy says, 4. Will you do 4? Please, my family's got to eat, right? Scar goes, all right, fine, 4. He hands him 4 gold pieces and get this box. Now, the box itself, it doesn't look like there's any way to open it. It's pretty much solid all the way around. If you feel it, there's really no seams. And so Scar just says, well, he puts it in his bag, and they go to the end. Well, over the course of the next 2 days, the box is forgotten. They've tried everywhere to find this Ny'rut, and nobody either knows about it or is willing to divulge it. And so Scar's getting angry. He's about ready to go back to the City of Light and beat the crap out of Inakwanai, right? So after another day of fruitless, they go to apothecaries, they go to herb merchants, they ask every possible merchant, and no one's heard of it. Scar is just beyond angry. So they decide that they're going to go back home and if not kill, at least beat to an inch of his life one night for giving sending him on this pointless quest, right? They've wasted all this time. They wasted all this coins and to get there and back. They do have this box, which Scar is pretty confident that when they get back to the city, the uniqueness of it alone will bring a profit. I bet it'll barely pay for everything they spent on the journey and the sheer frustration and anger that they're feeling right now, right? Well, anyway, so the first night on the road back, they set up camp next to a river. It's a nice campsite, fairly smooth. There's even a ring of stones where others have had camps before. So they camp there, and evening's falling. Moon's not quite out yet. It's quiet. Scar takes a box out. Starts looking at this box, and Potbelly goes, man, we might get 10 gold pieces for this, but there's no way we're going to get 100 gold pieces for this. And Scar says, no, I'm sure I can get 100 gold pieces for it. I mean, we might even get 500. I mean, look at this thing. It's really cool, right? And he's holding it up, and there's no way to, it feels like there might be something, it might be hollow on the inside. It's not solid. He's almost positive it's not solid. You knock on it, you can kind of hear a little echo. So he knows it's not solid. So if it's not solid, then there's an opening on the inside, which means there could be something on the inside. When he shakes it, he doesn't hear anything. But it's hollow on the inside, yet there's no way to open it. There's no seam, right? And so if nothing else, he's totally intrigued by this box. And about that time, he's sitting there. I mean, he's been puzzling over this box for half an hour, maybe an hour now. Potbelly's almost asleep on the bedroll next to him. And Potbelly sets it down on the ground, or Scar sets it down on the ground next to him. Just then, the full moon comes out. The light from the full moon hits the box. There's a click. There's an audible little click. And Scar looks, and the box now has a little seam along one side, right? And he's looking at it curiously, you know. He takes his knife out and he sticks it in there and he starts prying it like that, and it pops open, right? It pops open. And he looks inside and there's nothing in there. This is an empty box. There's some velvet on the inside. It looks really nice on the inside, like something maybe valuable had once been in there. But nothing. And so he's really disappointed. Where's the wealth? Where's the power? He's really upset. Now, about that time, he notices something out of the corner of his eye. There's motion in the shadows, right? He looks over there, and there's these eyes. There's these eyes staring at him. And he kicks Potbelly. He stands and he grabs hold of the hilt of his sword. He says, "Who's there? Who's there?" And then there's this really high pitched voice. Kind of says, "Masters, thank you for releasing me. I have been in that box for ages, and I will grant you 3 wishes." Scar's going, "What?" And Potbelly's half awake. He's looking, and this reddish genie, has to be a genie, right? Comes and kind of like floats towards them. He has feet, he has legs, but they're not really touching the ground. He's just kind of floating. And Scar's going, "Stand there." He says, "Master, I am not here to hurt you. I am here to help you. And I will grant you 3 wishes, at which point you must give the box to somebody else." And Scar goes, Potbelly goes, wait. Scar goes, I want to be the greatest swordsman who ever lived." And the genie goes, "Wishes made under the moon will be granted under the sun. Wishes made under the sun will be granted under the moon. Once a moon wish, you have made a moon wish. When the sun rises, your wish will be granted." And he disappears. And Potbelly goes, "What happened? Why'd you do that?" I says, I got a free wish." "Well, how do you know it's going to work out? How do you know he can wish you?" He says, "Man, it's a free wish, right? What can possibly go wrong?" And they argue most of the night about it. And I mean, nothing's happening. The genie's gone. The box is still open, but the genie's gone. Where did the genie go? He don't know. Didn't go back in the box. The genie's just gone, right? And so Scar's sitting there thinking, "I'm going to be the best swordsman in the world," right? And Potbelly is thinking, "Oh man, this can't end well." Potbelly is the more practical of the two, obviously. So, morning comes. I mean, Scar hasn't slept all day. Potbelly hasn't slept. Potbelly's been keeping an eye on Scar, and Scar has been dreaming about being the most badass, awesome swordsman ever, right? Okay, so when the sun crests the horizon and the sun hits the box, the genie reappears. But this time the genie is not red. This time the genie is white. And the genie says, "Foolish mortal, you get your wish." And he's like full of anger, full of just vindictiveness. And Scar's go, no, wait. And the genie points at Scar and Scar glows, right? Potbelly just feels power radiating from Scar. And then when the genie is done, the genie vanishes. Scar collapses. He passes out. Potbelly rushes over to him. Scar, 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 Scar. He checks him over. Nothing's changed. He looks exactly the same, right? And so Potbelly, can't wake him. An hour Scar lays there before he wakes up. He says, "What happened? That wish you made last night, the genie came this morning and granted it. Or he did something to you. I don't know. Do you feel different?" Man, I feel really tired. I feel really tired. In fact, you can tell that Scar's eyes are kind of gaunt a little bit. His cheeks are kind of more in than they were. And when he held up his hand kind of looks a little shriveled, like an old man's hand, right? Like, the skin's contracting, drawing into the bones. And he said, "Well, I don't know what happened, man, but I don't feel that great." And Scar is panicking. I mean, Potbelly's panicking. So he doesn't know what happened, but he says, "We got to get you to a temple. Something's going on, right?" And Potbelly goes, and Scar goes, "That's okay. I just need to sleep. So I'm just tired. I just need to sleep." Potbelly goes, No. You don't look like yourself. Okay? Something happened. Maybe this genie cursed you. I don't know. So Potbelly gets him on his horse, packs up everything, and they ride like hell to the nearest town for the temple. They get to the temple, and by then Scar's looking even worse. His skin is turning gray, ashy color. His hair is starting to turn white. There's little streaks of gray in his hair. It's like he's aging. By the hour, he's getting older and older. His wrinkles are starting to show. His hands are looking almost emaciated. Like a old man's hands. And they ran to the temple, and Potbelly, gets him in there and to the priest says, we need help. We'll pay whatever it takes. I think he was cursed. And the priest starts to do his thing, getting his power, putting his glow around Scar to find out what's going on. And static electricity comes out of Scar, shocks the priest and knocks him against the wall. The priest is knocked unconscious, right? Other priests are running towards them to find out what happened. And Scar is like really weak and tired. He can barely stand up. Potbelly is freaking out because he doesn't know what's going on. What happened? And the high priest shows up and starts really looking at Scar and says, "Whatever this is, it's an ancient magic, far more powerful than my priest could heal. We could lift this, but it's going to cost you 50,000 gold pieces because we might actually lose some of our people, and we won't do it just because. We don't know what you two are into, but if you want this healed, we need 50,000 gold pieces." And Potbelly goes, "We don't have 50,000 gold pieces." Well, you need to either get it, or you just be on your way, and we're sorry. He goes, "What kind of priest are you? What is affecting Scar is old, is powerful, and to go against that would be bad." Anyway, they end up having to leave. Priest didn't help him. Scar can barely walk now. And they get back to their campsite. Scar is pretty much he looks almost dead. He can't move. And Potbelly's got this box in his hand, right? And the box isn't opened anymore. or anything like that. But anyway, so we got to, sorry, my mom just walked in through my chain of thought. I should lock my door, I guess. Anyway, so sundown comes. Scar, he's still hanging on. And the genie appears. Foolish mortals, it's time for your second wish. And Potbelly says, he can't make a wish. He can barely talk. Then you must make the wish for him. You make your wish. And he wishes, he says, I wish that Scar had never made his wish, that all effects from his wish would be gone. Foolish mortal, your wish will be granted. Wishes made during when the sun shines will be granted when the moon shines. And then he disappears. And Potbelly's going, man, does this work? Is he going to reappear, right? And so they wait. Sun's going down. Sun's almost to the horizon. Scar is here. He's just, his hair's falling out, right? Everything is just getting worse and worse and worse. His hands look like skeleton hands. I mean, his heart's still beating, but barely faint. He's not conscious anymore. And we got, and finally, the moon comes out, hits the box. The box cracks, pops open, and the genie appears and says, wishes made in the light of the sun will be granted in the light of the moon. And so, you know, just like the night before. But this time, the genie's red again, okay? And he's smiling. He's much nicer. And power radiates from him, envelops Scar. And he says, wishes granted by the moon will be, or wishes made by the moon will be granted by the sunlight. So as the day before, Potbelly is going to have to wait. Well, when when the sun comes up, the genie reappears and does his thing. And Scar starts to become better. And when the genie reappeared in the sunlight, he was angry again. He was white and angry, and full of vengeance and full of anger. But he heals Scar. He reversed it. And Potbelly goes, what happened to him the first time? You know, he wished to be the greatest swordsman. Why didn't you make him the greatest swordsman? Genie says, foolish mortal, I did make him the greatest swordsman. The greatest swordsman lived 500 years ago. The greatest swordsman is rotting in the ground right now. When he wished to become the greatest swordsman, that is what the greatest swordsman is right now, and that's what he became. And then when Potbelly wished him back, then the genie, you know, reversed it, and it was fine. Okay, so throughout the rest of the day, Scar actually gets better. Hair starts growing back faster than it should. He gets color again. Flesh starts to fill out, and by nightfall, he's weak. He's tired, but he's not on the verge of death anymore. And then, when the sunlight hits the box, on the third night, the genie reappears. And this time again, the genie is red. And he's nice. Mortals, mortals, mortals. You got one more wish. Your wish will be granted. Tell me, brave sirs, what you wish for. And Potbelly, we are not going to wish any more wishes. He wished a wish, and you almost killed him. I had to use another wish to bring him back. If we make another wish, we're not going to have another wish to fix it. So we're not going to wish anymore. The guy says, you have no choice, mortals. You must wish or you must die. That is your choice. Once you open the box, you must make your 3 wishes, or you will die. You must make your wish before the moon sets. If you do not make a wish before the moon sets, I will return and kill you and take your souls. And Potbelly goes, well, that sucks. And he sits there all night long and he wonders, well, what wish can I make that cannot possibly backfire? That cannot possibly, be turned against. Like, Scar wanted to become the greatest swordsman. But in Scar's mind, he wanted to become the greatest swordsman in himself. But the genie perverted it and so made him the greatest swordsman who ever lived. That's what he asked for. He didn't ask to be the greatest swordsman. He said the greatest swordsman who ever lived, and that was 500 years ago. Greatest swordsman, 500 years ago, riding dead, and well, you know the rest. So Potbelly struggles with this all night long. He knows that, and he's watching the moon. He can't sleep, obviously. Scar's asleep. And when the moon hits the horizon, the genie reappears again. Good sirs. Genie, red. He's still red. Friendly demeanor. He goes, good sir, what is your wish? The time has come. You must make your last wish. And Scar goes, all right, this is my wish. If a wish I must make, if you're going to force me to make a wish, this is the wish that I wish. And the genie says, good sir, tell me your wish. And Potbelly goes, I wish that you will never grant another wish. And the genie almost implodes because he can't grant that wish, but he can grant that wish, but he can't grant that wish. And he goes from red to white, to red to white. His 2 forms. He starts going back and forth between the 2. And Scar's awake by this time. He's weak, but he's awake, and he sees what's going on. And magic is starting to flow all over the place. Things are sparking. And Potbelly goes, we gotta get out of here. And he throws Scar on his horse. They leave everything in the camp, including the box. And they jump, and Potbelly jumps on his horse, grabs Scar's horse, and they race. And behind them, they can hear the humming. This intense, high-pitched sound starts to form. And then, a few seconds later, there's this massive explosion, like the genie just boom, right? And a wave of force smashes into them, knocks them off the horses. They hit the ground hard, and the force continues to push them and the horses along the ground, rolling over and over and over for over 100 feet until the force is over. When they get up, the world is quiet. The sound is gone. Potbelly picks up, helps Scar get to his feet, and says, "Are you okay?" He says, "Man, I may have sprained my ankle or something, or my arm, but I think I'll be fine." Well, one of the horses is dead. The other one has broken 2 legs, so they put it out of its misery, and so they're on foot, and they wander back to the camp. And the camp is just gone, right? There's like a crater 10 feet deep. All the trees around there are blasted, burnt, smoldering. And the box is sitting there. It's closed, can't be opened. And they look at the box. And Scar goes, he reaches for it, and Potbelly goes, "What are you doing? We almost got killed by this malicious genie over this damn box. Yeah, but I paid $1. I paid one gold piece, you know, four gold pieces for it. I'm taking it back to City of Light. I'm making my money. And Potbelly goes, oh, God, Scar, you're going to be the death of me. And then that's the end of the story. So the Lunar Genie, or the Lunar Genie, okay, Lunar. Basically, the Lunar Genie is a genie that has two forms. When the moon shines, the genie is red and he's angry. Evil genie. When the sun shines, he's white and he's nice. I think that's how that was. Anyway, so he's got the two sides. If you make a wish at night, then the genie, then the let's see, I forgot about that. I keep getting this mixed up. But okay, if you make a wish at night, the red genie, night is the good genie. Is the good genie will grant you your you'll have the wish granted in the daylight by the bad genie. But if you make a wish with the bad genie, then you make it with the good genie. It goes back. But see, Scar's first wish obviously was granted by the bad genie, and then Potbelly's was granted also by the bad genie, but there was no wiggle room. It was you end what happened the first time, and there was no rational wiggle room to screw him over. So he had to do the right thing. And then the last one, of course, was just genius. So that's the Lunar Genie. That's Scar and Potbelly and the Lunar Genie. Tell me what you think. Was this worthwhile? Should I tell more of these stories? And if so, let me know. Oh, follow me, of course. Like the video. I would love a comment about this. Tell me if I did a good job, if this is my thing, or if I should just bag it. Anyway, y'all take care.